Yeah, good morning, everyone. We are excited. Jean-Philippe and I, we are here for the podcast that we are going to talk about the book, The Six Pillar of Self-Esteem. And today we are starting a new, let's say, a chapter or a new part of the book. So we are going to talk about the external influence. So in the previous episode, we talk about our um, internal factor that we are going to develop our self-esteem, but of course our influence, so external influence like our parents at school, let's say at work. So how does it influence our self-esteem? So this is what we are going to cover, and Jean-Philippe is going to cover how we can help our kids to develop their self esteem. So let's start and dive in the subject. So um, we have to ask a fundamental questions. So, in what kind of environment does a person learn or fail to learn to develop this practice of self-esteem? Okay, so because of course, when we are a child, we are totally dependent. Okay, so if our parents are going to feed us, they have to change us, they have to raise us, they have to clean us. So this is we are 100% dependent on our parents. But of course, their job is to bring us as a baby, then a child, and then a teenager, and then an adult. So they have to move us and to become autonomous. This is our their job. Okay, so when we are totally dependent, of course we are going to develop special relationship with our parents, with the other adult surrounding us. So let's say you have your parents and then they go to work. So you have now you are at the kindergarten, or maybe you have a significant adult who's going to take care of you. So you're gonna develop a special relationship with them. And of course, what how they are going to act with you, how they going to react with you, it's going to affect your self-esteem, because we are totally let's say fragile when we are young. And of course we are a sponge, so we are going to absorb everything that we're going to see. So I'm going to cover the first five conditions associated with high self-esteem in children. Okay, so this is how we can, as a kid, work, of course, to make sure that we are going to have a great relationship with all the people. So, um, so number one, the author, okay, explained that he worked and he was inspired by another psychologist, Mr. Cooper Smith, and he said, you know what, the one who are going to um, develop a good self-esteem, okay, this is not the people who are going to live in a rich family. Okay, doesn't influence your social status. It doesn't influence how you are going to develop your self-esteem. Your education level, okay, or the little or your parents education doesn't influence. The neighborhood where you live doesn't affect your self-esteem. And if you grew with a mother who she is like a stay-at-home a mom, or your mom work, doesn't make the difference. But what is going to influence is the quality of the relationship with the parents or the adult, the important adult in your life. So this is the five key elements. So number one, when you are going to um, make sure that you are accept the child as a person. So when your the parent accept the child as a person. So this is so important. They are going to um, make sure that the the thinking, the emotion of the kids are very important. They are going to, let's say, accept, okay, and they are going to listen to them. Let's say you are at school, okay, and you can come back from the school, and you have a difficult day at school, okay. So let's say you are frustrated, the kid is angry, okay. So if the parents say, okay, I see you are angry, tell me what happens, okay. So that way there's a place where the kids can express himself. This is a good way of accepting themselves, okay. So this is a pillar very important in self-esteem. So the kids know that their emotion are legitimate, okay, and he can have those kind of emotion, he can express them. So this is a great way that how you can support your kids. Number two, clearly define fair and negotiable limits. So when the kids evolve in with limits, and this is clear, and some are negotiable, some are not negotiable. So this is something that the kids is going to be feel safe, okay, in a safe space. He know that he can do this, he cannot do this. Sometimes he can walk a little bit further, and you are going to let the things say, okay, this is okay. So that way he can express that he is not agree with that, okay. So he have the place to express themselves. uh, you can tell, let's say, okay, you cannot hit someone, okay, you cannot do that, okay. And sometimes this is clear, and sometimes there's a rule, and he can talk about the rules and ask questions, and it could be flexible. So that way the kids learn the responsibility, respect, and the capacity of evaluate their own behavior, okay. So that way he develop our inner sense of control, okay. At the opposition of doing everything that the parents ask, okay. And it's not based on fear, okay. So he can express himself, and he can negotiate sometimes some rules, okay. So this is important. Number three, how kids can develop their self-esteem. So when there's a respect for the child dignity, okay. So or their parent doesn't use humiliation, okay. They don't laugh at him, they don't use violence or manipulation, okay, emotional manipulation. So let's say a kid doesn't have a good note at school, okay. So the parents won't say, okay, you you idiot, okay. No, no, no. Is going to explain, okay, the result, it's not the one that you want, okay, but we're gonna see what happens, okay. So the message is, you can make mistake, okay, and you're not going to lose your value because you make a mistakes, okay. Failing, it's part of the process, okay. So this is what we are teaching the kids. It's resilience and having the courage to try again, okay. So this is important. Number four, high but benevolent expectation. So when you have expectation, okay, it's important, but it's not the expectation of perfection. It's to tell the people to tell the kids that it's not everything that is okay, okay. You don't have to be perfect, okay, but you have to be the best version of yourself, okay. You can learn, you can do anything, okay. Believe in your capacity. So that way the kids learn that effort it's important, growth is possible, and you can learn, you can improve yourself. So this is the feeling of personal competence that you are going to develop. And number five, it's parents model self-esteem. Of course, when you are going to um, kids learn primarily by observing how adults treat themselves. Okay, so when you are a parent and you are going to treat yourself like a good one, so when you make error, okay, so you're going to admit your error and you're gonna show that this is how you are going to learn. Okay, we learn by uh, sometimes by failing. Okay, when you treat other with dignity, when you say no, and it's okay to say no, so kids learn how to say no. When you act with dignity, okay, with integrity, so this is how the kid's going to see this, and he's going to say, oh, okay, I can act like that. So this is something very important, and this is something very powerful. So this is the fifth element that you are going to develop your self-esteem as a child. Okay, so now we are going to talk about basic safety and security, because of course security is very something that it's the first requirement for the development of the self-esteem. So of course, as we said, a child start in a total dependency. Okay, they need everything for their protection, for their stability, and the sometimes the world could be hostile, and the parents or the adult are there to protect them. But basic safety is present. Okay, so the child can explore. Okay, so when he is a kid, is going to walk and is going to discover dogs, cats. They are going to discover heights. They have to be prudent, let's say when they walk in the stairs. Okay, so this is how they we let them explore. Okay, we let them think, we let them develop their internal boundaries. Okay, so this is how you can do this. So the author talk about in the book that he, as you know, he is like psychotherapist, and he works with adults, and some of the adults, they have a lot of problem with their self-esteem, and they work with them. And I'm going to to tell you two stories from the book. Okay, and those story explain, okay, how when we are a child, how it could be fragile, and how our as an adult our act can have a big impact on kids. So we have in the book Sonia. She is a nurse of 38 years old. So on the surface, she her life appears stable, but in therapy, Brandon noticed something striking. Sonia flinches whenever someone slightly raise their voice. Okay, she reports that her earliest memory are of her parents screaming to each other while she lay crying in her crib and ignore. She doesn't remember this even cognitively, but her body remembers. As an adult, this show up as chronic anxiety, fear-based decision making, fragile self-esteem. So Brandon explained that Sonia internalized very early the belief that the world is dangerous and no one's come when I am afraid. Even without explicit memory, the absence of basic safety shape a relationship to herself and to life. So as you see, the the parents, they were fighting. Okay, they are, let's say she was afraid, she was crying, and they just ignore her. So this behavior have impact on Sonia 38 years later. So as you will see, the first the first year are so important, and we can it can have a big impact on kids. Okay, example from the book number 2. Edgar um, is 34 years old and is a philosophy professor. Okay, his childhood memories involve a violent, unpredictable father, socially respected but terrifying at home. He said, "My father beat me with a strap. My cries never made him stop. I felt that he could destroy me, and there was nothing I can do about it." At 34, Edgar still says, "I am afraid. I've always been afraid. I don't know who I would be without my fear." So he said that, sometimes he cannot answer to the people, he cannot oppose himself because you always have that feeling that he can be beat. So Brandon, the author, said, okay, this is not a lack of willpower. It is not a character flaw. It's the result of terror experienced too early while the self was still forming. So as we see, that those type of behavior have a big impact um, on adult. Okay, so 38 years later, so you still feel those first moment in your life. Okay, so um, so the greater a child's terror and the earlier its experience, the harder the task of building a strong and healthy sense of self is a big task. So when safety is missing, so you are going to have a survival strategy develop for yourself. Okay, and those strategy become life pattern in adulthood. So let's say strategy like avoidance, hypervigilance, excessive need for approval, fear of conflict, difficulty asserting oneself. So as we see, that has a big impact. So external influence do not explain everything, but they explain a great deal. So sometimes you're gonna, I have like the image of, sometimes we as a parents, they adopt kids, okay, and you say, okay, I don't understand. My kids evolve in a good family, but the previous months, let's say they stay 10 or 1 year at the or orphans, so it has a big impact. Okay, so he's going to develop some patterns, and even if he grow in a good environment in a good family, sometimes it's going to be difficult with their self-esteem. Okay, so um, of course, um, external influence doesn't explain everything, but they explain a great deal. Okay, and we are, um, sometimes the cause it's something from their past. So now we are going to talk about with Jean-Philippe, um, so we developed our foundation, but we are going to nourish by something deeply human, and we're going to talk about the touch, how we can love, and how we can accept our kids. So Jean-Philippe, take it away.
Yes, thank you, Sylvain. So I really want to go in that section and give you some tips, tricks, and strategy that you can really put on practice right away. Okay, so yes, right now we are talking about like our kids, but there is a part of us that's, as Sylvain said with the example, we're still like a kids inside, and we may have been affected by what happened when we were younger. So the first element is what we call nurturing through touch. Okay, they say that long before a child can understand words, he or she understands touch. Okay, so a lack of touch during like the childhood can lead to avoidance and sometimes have compulsive behavior. Okay, and it can make them see themselves as not worth it. So why it is so important? There is three main elements. So the three key points are the following one. First, it's a vital need. Okay, that touch from the parent is not a luxury. Science show that touch is essential for the brain development and also the emotional health. Okay, so without it, okay, even with other needs met, okay, so yes, the child can be fed, it can be like secure, it can be under like a roof. Okay, they say that if there is not that touch, that nurturing touch, okay, as a baby, as a child, okay, it can fail to thrive. The second key point is the first language of love and security is that nurturing touch. So before words, as I said, a baby understand, okay, through the touch of their skin. Caresses, a hug, being held, okay, it connects. And they even say as adult, okay, with like a friends, with your partner, that you should like give them a hug, okay, at least 10 to 15 seconds because like there is some hormones that will be secreted like through your entire body and even go up to 30 seconds, okay, because this is really where the connection is starting to develop. So that physical language, okay, build a sense of being valued and worthy for the child. And the number three key element is about establishing fundamental human connection. So nurturing touch, okay, break through isolation and it validates our physical existence. Okay, it says, okay, I'm here with you, you exist, you're there. So here are five ways that you can apply, okay, that nurturing touch with your kids or with your teenager or even with yourself if you feel that there is a miss throughout your life. First one, practice conscious daily contact. Okay, so take 30 seconds, okay, distraction free, no cell phone, okay, and like give a hug like to your kids, place a hands on their shoulder, okay, and ask them, how are you today? Did you have a great night? Okay, what is your schedule today? Or sometimes, okay, for parents, it can just be like taking the time like to put their clothes on them, to brush their hair and listen like to their days at the end of the days or at the starting of the days before they get to school. Number two, okay, acknowledge and respect preferences. Okay, so sometimes, okay, yes, we say that the natural, the contact, the physical contact is very important, but naturally, we're not built all the same way. So sometimes people just want to talk. Okay, do you want to hug or you prefer to talk? Especially if they're living some emotions. Okay, they had a situation at school with another kids or a situation with their teacher. They feel emotional, they cry, but sometimes they don't want that hug. Sometimes they just need like to express, or sometimes they won't need to talk. They will just need like that physical connection. Okay, so it's important, especially for teacher, to identify also like that boundaries for children. Number three, okay, they say use transitional object, okay, for reserved teen or adult. So they say that sometimes they don't want like to get touched, okay, but just like watching a movie and share like a blanket. Okay, so it can be like offering sometimes a high five. Okay, so it's not like intrusive as an hug. So as I just said, like in the point before, the previous point, just understand what is the need. Okay, so respect the preference. It can like had a huge impact on the way that you will choose like to have that nurturing touch. And number five, okay, it's about like more for adult. They say practice self-touch with kindness. Okay, so here it's about like sometimes just feel yourself. Okay, you're feeling emotional, just let it cry. Okay, and let like the tears go through like your cheeks, or you're feeling stress, place your hands through your heart. Okay, so those are, or just like have a bath, okay, a warm bath that you feel your body that is being relaxed. So for people that may have not, okay, had that nurturing touch when they were a kid, when they were a child or a teenager, there is many way that you can reconnect with your body kindly. So this is how we can help develop and sustain self-esteem for children through nurturing touch. The second point that I want to cover with you is about love, the unconditional love. Okay, so love is so important for a child, okay, because they convey to a child, you are enough. Okay, so unconditional love, no matter what they are doing, okay, it show that okay, you are enough and you belong here. The consequences of its absence. Okay, so what will happen is if like it's a conditional love, okay, and it's not connected to performance, the child will grow, okay, and he will believe that okay, if I'm not performant, there is no love. So we should not connect love, okay, with performance. So how can we do that? So first of all, let's understand more deeper that concept. First element, love is a state of being. Okay, it's not a reward. So it's linked to who you are. Okay, not to what you do. So a parent can express disappointment with a behavior without questioning the child's fundamental worth. So we really need, as adults, especially for child, to separate behavior and love that is unconditional. Second, a key element in love, it is communicated through the joy of presence. Okay, so love comes through the authentic pleasure of being with the child. Play with it, listen to it. Okay, it's undirected moment. Okay, it's just be in their presence, to appreciate them, to love them, to play with them, to listen to them, to guide them, to be there when it's important, okay, for them. So it's communicated through the joy of presence. And number three element, it is not a weapon of manipulation. As I said, okay, withdrawing affection or attention to obtain obedience, okay, I won't talk to you if you don't do that, okay, that is not the way of doing, because it will create insecurity and it can lead through anxiety later. So how can you express unconditional love, okay, concretely in your day-to-day world? So number one, okay, as I said, clearly separate the person from the act, okay? So when a child do something like had a bad behavior or did not act as is supposed to do, okay, you can say it. I love you, but that behavior is not okay. Instead of saying you are bad. So words are really strong and important because words convey idea and they convey conviction. So really important to separate. I love you, but I don't. I love you, or say I don't like that behavior. Okay, that you just had. So really identify from the fact. Number two, okay, celebrate being, not just doing. Okay, so it's about seeing what they do. I love your curiosity. I love your perseverance. Okay, that was not easy, but you did not let go. Okay, so it's all about kindness. Okay, so your kindness toward your brother touches me. So it's about seeing what they do. Okay, well, how they act and celebrate that. Number three, okay, of what you can do to show unconditional love is practice moment of full presence. So, as we said at the beginning of the day, to take time, like to get that nurturing touch, here you can like dedicate some time, some special times without your phone to play with your kids, talk with your kids, read with your kids, express some joy and pleasure. So more than just a few minutes. So here at least 10 minutes just to show your kids that like you're there for him and you appreciate the time that you have together. Number four, reassure after a conflict. Okay, so here it's quite similar from what I just said. Like, I don't like your behavior. Well, if you had like a conflict, or you are able like to just be sure that you bring him back into like what are the boundaries. Okay, you can say, okay, even when I'm hungry, I love you. Okay, so this is crucial, especially for kids to understand that sometimes our reaction does not lead that to I don't love you, but it's on the contrary, I love you, but right now the situation, okay, is not according to what are the rules that are established. And number five, for yourself, okay, speak to your inner child. So, especially if you miss, okay, that love when you were younger, okay, sometimes journaling is a way, okay, to give yourself some love, okay? So, tell yourself you are enough, you deserve to be loved, okay? You're happy of what you did today. Here's what happened, how you could act differently. And this is what we suggest you in our journaling and in our conditioning program. There is always a part at the end of the day that you can reflect on yourself. So this is a way to have gratitude and send love sometimes to that inner child, or that child that maybe didn't have that when he was younger. So I had a third one prepared. I don't have time for it. We will cover it tomorrow, and we will continue with those way of how you can express and build self-esteem with child. So on that, thank you so much, Guy, for being with us, and we're seeing you tomorrow at 8. Bye.